Hey everyone! Welcome back to challenging but essential English words American students learn. In this lesson, we'll explore words that describe fear, conditions, effort, and how situations unfold over time. These are words American students use to explain challenges clearly, in school, in writing, and in real life. Let's begin. First word, claustrophobia. Have you ever felt panicked in a small, closed space, like an elevator, a tunnel, or a crowded room? That feeling is claustrophobia, an intense fear of being in confined or enclosed spaces. For example, she avoids elevators because of her claustrophobia. His claustrophobia made it difficult to travel on crowded trains. You might also say fear of enclosed spaces or panic in tight spaces. And the opposite would be comfort, calmness, or ease in small spaces. The adjective form is claustrophobic. For example, the room felt claustrophobic with no windows. Even people without claustrophobia can describe places or situations as claustrophobic when they feel tight or suffocating. Let's hear how people really use it.
I can't take the stairs down there. The hallway feels so claustrophobic.
Yeah, even I feel uneasy when there's no air or light.
He didn't know he had claustrophobia until he got stuck in an elevator.
Fear like that often shows up unexpectedly.
The subway during rush hour triggers my claustrophobia.
That makes sense. Crowded spaces can overwhelm anyone.
Claustrophobia reminds us that fear is often connected to feeling trapped. Understanding our fears helps us face them, one step and one breath at a time. Second word, colleague. Do you have people you work or study with regularly? Not close friends, but part of the same team or place. Those people are your colleagues, individuals you work with in the same profession, office, or organization. For example, she discussed the project with her colleagues during the meeting. My colleagues helped me adjust to the new workplace quickly. You might also say coworker, associate, or teammate. And the opposite would be competitor or opponent. Colleague is neutral and professional. It doesn't imply friendship, only a shared work or study environment. It's commonly used in emails, presentations, and academic or workplace writing. Unlike friend, colleague keeps a respectful distance, which is important in formal English. Let's hear how people really use it.
I'm still getting to know my colleagues at the new job.
That's normal. Trust builds gradually in professional settings.
One of my colleagues gave me great feedback on the report.
That's valuable. Peer input can really improve your work.
Are your colleagues joining the conference next week?
Yes, most of the team will be there to represent our department.
Colleague reminds us that cooperation matters. Respectful relationships at work or school create environments where everyone can grow and succeed together. Third word, condescend. Have you ever felt that someone was talking down to you, as if they thought they were smarter or better? That's when someone condescends. It means to act as if you are superior to others, often in a way that feels insulting or disrespectful. For example, she spoke to the students in a condescending tone that made them uncomfortable. He didn't mean to offend, but his explanation sounded condescending. You might also say patronize, talk down to, or look down on. And the opposite would be respect, value, or treat as an equal. The noun form is condescension, meaning an attitude of superiority. For example, people dislike condescension because it makes them feel small. Condescend is about attitude and tone, not just words. Even polite language can sound condescending if respect is missing. Let's hear how people really use it.
I asked a simple question, and he answered in such a condescending way.
That's frustrating. No one likes being treated like they're ignorant.
She tries to help, but sometimes she comes across as condescending.
Yeah, intention matters, but delivery matters even more.
Good teachers never condescend to their students.
Exactly. Real teaching is about guidance, not superiority.
Condescend reminds us that respect is the foundation of communication. Knowledge only becomes wisdom when it's shared with humility. Fourth word, contingent. Have you ever made plans that depended on something else happening first? Like going out if the weather stays nice. That's contingent, meaning dependent on certain conditions, or possible, but not guaranteed. For example, the trip is contingent on everyone finishing their exams on time. Payment is contingent upon approval from the manager. You might also say dependent, conditional, or subject to. And the opposite would be certain, guaranteed, or unconditional. Contingent on or contingent upon is the most common structure. For example, our success is contingent on teamwork. In academic and formal writing, contingent is often used to explain cause and effect relationships clearly. Let's hear how people really use it.
Are we still having the outdoor event tomorrow?
Yes, but it's contingent on the weather staying clear.
The job offer is contingent upon a background check.
That makes sense. Companies want to be careful.
His decision to join the team was contingent on flexible hours.
Right. Conditions matter when people commit.
Contingent reminds us that many plans in life aren't fixed. Understanding conditions helps us stay realistic, flexible, and prepared for change. Fifth word, daunt. Have you ever faced a challenge that felt so difficult it almost made you want to give up before starting? That challenge might daunt you, meaning to discourage or cause someone to lose confidence or courage. For example, the length of the project didn't daunt her. She broke it into smaller steps. He was daunted by the idea of speaking in front of such a large crowd. You might also say discourage, intimidate, or overwhelm. And the opposite would be encourage, embolden, or motivate. Daunt is often used in the passive form. Be daunted by something. For example, she wasn't daunted by failure. The adjective undaunted means not discouraged. He remained undaunted despite many setbacks. Let's hear how people really use it.
Weren't you daunted by how competitive the program was?
A little, but I decided to try anyway. That was the hardest part.
The amount of reading for this class is daunting.
True, but once you start, it becomes manageable.
She seemed completely undaunted by the criticism.
That kind of confidence comes from experience.
Daunt reminds us that fear often appears before growth. What daunts us today may become tomorrow's proof of how far we've come. Sixth word, deluge. Have you ever experienced rain so heavy that it felt like the sky was pouring everything down at once? That's a deluge, a sudden, overwhelming flood of water, and more generally, a large amount of something arriving all at once. For example, the town was hit by a deluge of rain that caused severe flooding. After the announcement, the office received a deluge of emails from customers. You might also say flood, torrent, or downpour. And the opposite would be trickle, drip, or shortage. Deluge can be used as both a noun and a verb. For example, the streets were deluged after hours of non-stop rain. In writing, it's often used figuratively to describe being overwhelmed by information, work, or messages. Let's hear how people really use it.
My inbox was hit with a deluge of messages after the update went live.
That's how you know people were paying attention.
The sudden deluge caught everyone off guard during the hike.
Yeah, the weather changed in minutes.
Students faced a deluge of assignments at the end of the semester.
That's when time management really matters.
Deluge reminds us that pressure often comes in waves. When things arrive all at once, staying calm and prioritizing wisely keeps us afloat. 7th word, dispel. Have you ever had a fear, rumor, or misunderstanding that disappeared once someone explained the truth? That's dispel. It means to make something go away, especially a belief, feeling, or doubt. For example, the teacher dispelled the students' fears about the exam. Clear facts help dispel the rumors spreading online. You might also say clear away, eliminate, or remove. And the opposite would be create, spread, or reinforce. Dispel is commonly used with abstract nouns like fear, doubt, myth, confusion, or illusion. For example, the explanation dispelled any confusion. It's often followed by a direct object. You dispel something. Let's hear how people really use it.
I was nervous about the presentation, but her advice really dispelled my fear.
That's the power of reassurance. It changes how you feel instantly.
The article helped dispel the myth that learning English is impossible as an adult.
I'm glad. False beliefs stop people before they even try.
He spoke openly to dispel any doubts about his intentions.
Honest communication makes a huge difference.
Dispel reminds us that clarity is powerful. Truth, when shared calmly and clearly, can remove fear faster than force ever could. 8th word, dub. Have you ever heard someone given a nickname or title? Sometimes officially, sometimes just for fun? That's dub. It means to give someone or something a name, title, or label. For example, the media dubbed her the voice of a generation. He was dubbed captain after years of hard work. You might also say name, call, or label. And the opposite would be remove a title or leave unnamed. Dub is often used in the passive voice. Be dubbed plus title or name. For example, the project was dubbed a success. It's common in news, history, and storytelling when a label becomes widely accepted. Let's hear how people really use it.
The press dubbed the young scientist a genius overnight.
That's a lot of pressure to live up to.
They dubbed the new cafe the best spot in town.
No wonder it's always crowded.
He was jokingly dubbed the planner of the group.
Titles stick when they fit.
Dub reminds us that names have power. The labels we give and accept can shape how others see us and how we see ourselves. 9th word, fanfare. Have you ever seen a big celebration or announcement with lots of excitement, noise, and attention? That's fanfare. A loud or showy display meant to celebrate or announce something important. For example, the new product launched with great fanfare and media attention. She accepted the award without fanfare, quietly thanking her team. You might also say celebration, publicity, or display. And the opposite would be silence, modesty, or low-key attention. Fanfare can refer to celebratory music played on brass instruments, and it can also describe public excitement or attention surrounding an event or announcement. You'll often see it in the phrase with little or no fanfare, meaning something happens without much attention or publicity. Let's hear how people really use it.
The movie premiered with huge fanfare downtown.
Yeah, the red carpet and cameras were everywhere.
He fixed the problem without any fanfare.
That's impressive. Real skill doesn't always need applause. Why was there so much fanfare over the announcement?
I guess people love a big moment, even for small changes.
Fanfare reminds us that attention can amplify moments, but it doesn't define their value. Sometimes the most meaningful achievements happen quietly, without noise or applause. 10th word, fledgling. Have you ever seen someone just starting out, still learning, still unsure, but full of potential? That person is a fledgling, someone who is new, inexperienced, or just beginning, especially in a career or role. For example, the company hired a group of fledgling engineers straight out of college. As a fledgling writer, she struggled at first, but kept improving. You might also say beginner, newcomer, or novice. And the opposite would be expert, veteran, or professional. Fledgling originally refers to a young bird learning to fly. In modern English, it's mostly used figuratively to describe people, groups, or organizations in their early stages. Let's hear how people really use it.
The startup is still fledgling, but it has a lot of promise.
Every big success starts small. Growth takes time.
He's a fledgling teacher, so he's still finding his style.
That's normal. Experience builds confidence.
The fledgling team made mistakes, but they learned quickly.
That's how progress works: trial, error, and persistence.
Fledgling reminds us that everyone begins somewhere. Being new isn't a weakness. It's the first step toward mastery. 11th word, inane. Have you ever heard a comment or idea that made you think, that makes no sense at all? That's inane. It means silly, empty, or lacking meaning or intelligence. For example, the conversation became inane after everyone got tired. He ignored the inane comments and focused on his work. You might also say foolish, senseless, or empty. And the opposite would be meaningful, thoughtful, or intelligent. Inane is stronger than silly. It often criticizes ideas, remarks, or conversations, not people directly. It's common in writing or formal speech to dismiss something as not worth attention. Let's hear how people really use it.
The online argument turned inane after a while.
Yeah, once logic disappears, there's no point continuing.
He laughed at the inane jokes during the meeting.
Sometimes humor helps, but timing matters.
She was tired of answering the same inane questions.
That happens when people don't listen carefully.
Inane reminds us to value substance over noise. Clear thinking and meaningful words are always worth more than empty talk. 12th word, metal. Have you ever faced a tough situation that tested how strong or determined you really were? That inner strength is called metal. It means courage, spirit, and the ability to keep going when things get hard. For example, the competition tested the athlete's mettle. She showed real mettle by staying calm under pressure. You might also say courage, grit, or determination. And the opposite would be weakness, fear, or cowardice. Mettle is often used in phrases like test someone's mettle or show your mettle. It refers to inner character, not physical strength, how you respond when challenged. Let's hear how people really use it.
That final exam really tested my mettle.
Same here, but getting through it made me feel stronger.
She showed her mettle by speaking up when no one else would.
That takes real courage, especially in difficult situations.
The team proved its mettle during the last minutes of the game.
Pressure reveals who's truly prepared.
Middle reminds us that character shows itself in moments of difficulty. Challenges don't create strength. They reveal the strength that was already there. 13th word, negligible. Have you ever worried about a problem, only to find out later that it was too small to really matter? That's negligible. It means so small or unimportant that it can be safely ignored. For example, the cost increase was negligible compared to the overall budget. Any risk involved is considered negligible. You might also say insignificant, minor, or trivial. And the opposite would be significant, serious, or considerable. The noun form negligence is related but different. It means carelessness, not smallness. Negligible refers to something too small to matter, while negligent means being careless or irresponsible. Let's hear how people really use it.
Will this mistake affect my final grade?
Not at all, the impact is negligible.
There's a negligible difference between the two versions.
Then it probably doesn't matter which one we choose.
The doctor said the side effects were negligible.
That's reassuring. Peace of mind makes a big difference.
Negligible reminds us to keep perspective. Not every issue deserves worry. Knowing what truly matters helps us save energy for what counts. 14th word, protract. Have you ever been in a situation that felt unnecessarily long, like a meeting or argument that just wouldn't end? That's when something is protracted, meaning it is lengthened in time or stretched out longer than expected. For example, the negotiations were protracted for months without any agreement. A protracted illness kept him out of school for most of the year. You might also say extend, lengthen, or drag out. And the opposite would be shorten, reduce, or cut short. Protract is often used in formal or academic contexts, especially with nouns like conflict, debate, illness, or process. You'll more commonly see the adjective protracted than the verb itself. Let's hear how people really use it.
The trial turned into a protracted legal battle.
Yeah, cases like that can take years to resolve.
Everyone was exhausted by the protracted discussion.
Sometimes knowing when to stop is just as important as starting.
A protracted recovery tested his patience.
Long challenges really show endurance.
Protract reminds us that time can wear people down. When situations drag on, perseverance and knowing when to seek resolution becomes essential. 15th word, replica. Have you ever seen a copy of something famous, like a model of a historic building or a museum piece that isn't the original? That's a replica, an exact or close copy of an original object. For example, the museum displayed a replica of the ancient statue to protect the original. He bought a replica jersey of his favorite player. You might also say copy, reproduction, or duplicate. And the opposite would be original, authentic item, or one-of-a-kind piece. Replica is often used when accuracy matters. The copy is meant to look very similar to the original. In academic or historical contexts, replicas allow people to study or experience important objects without damaging the real ones. Let's hear how people really use it.
Is that the real painting or a replica?
It's a replica. The original is kept in a secure vault.
They built a full-size replica of the ship for the movie.
That must have made filming feel incredibly realistic.
I prefer replicas when traveling. Less worry about damage or loss.
True, peace of mind is valuable too.
Replica reminds us that while originals have special value, copies help preserve history, share knowledge, and make great things accessible to more people. Great job! You've completed Lesson 7. In this lesson, you learned words that describe fear, conditions, effort, and how situations develop over time, from feeling trapped or overwhelmed to showing courage, patience, and resilience. These words are especially useful in academic reading, writing, and discussions because they help you explain challenges, causes, and outcomes clearly and precisely. Keep reviewing the examples, and try using one or two of today's words in your own sentences this week. That's how vocabulary turns into real skill. If this lesson helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment about which words stood out to you the most. I'll see you in Lesson 8.